Under the sea.
Under the sea.
Take this from me.
Wow, that was sad. Anyway, we are under the sea today. You're in water right now.
I need a strong cup of coffee.
You know, I would like Ryan to answer this question just before we get started.
Here we go.
Ryan, what is the difference between The Little Mermaid and Barbie?
I haven't seen Bobby.
Okay, what is the difference between you wanting to watch The Little Mermaid and not being prepared to watch Barbie?
I haven't wanted to watch either.
But you agreed to watch The Little Mermaid. Why do you not agree to watch Barbie?
Because it's not Bobby.
I still don't understand that. But anyway, this is the movie show. I am Sash.
There's a difference between blue and pink, okay?
I am still Sash. What?
My name's Ryan.
And green, Ryan. Little Mermaid is green.
I just saw blue.
Oh, okay. And we are doing The Little Mermaid 2023 live action remake of the classic animated Disney film, The Little Mermaid.
I actually watched it. It's not my cup of tea. Definitely not. All right. But I must say, putting aside all of that.
Putting aside the tea.
Yes. I was just like, this is a good Disney film.
Right?
It's a good Disney film.
Which is shocking because Disney has been like out here doing the most. But now this film did have a lot of controversy and backlash. I personally at one point was against this film. And
I remember.
I can honestly say that watching it, I was completely happy.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly got to the end of the movie and thought that was a very good film, number one.
Good Disney film.
That was a very good remake of an animated film because we've
Yes.
seen like bad remakes.
Yeah.
And that was, I really enjoyed the experience. Like, it was a very, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I only have one issue with the film, and it's more of like just a practical issue. Like there was a practical stunt that was done.
What is it?
Okay, so you know that very, very, very famous Little Mermaid moment where she's like, part of your, and then she goes up on the rock and then the water goes, whoosh, that very iconic shot. So they obviously remade it, but just before in the live action remake, she's like peering over a rock, and like as it builds up to that point, she suddenly starts moving up the rock, but gravity is defied.
Like this.
And literally, it literally looked like she was on wires and she was being dragged up the rock so she could do that. I was just like,
I thought it was seaweed.
Guys,
I was like, that rock has a lot of seaweed
no.
in it.
That was my only issue. I was just like, you guys could have done that whole, like, that was such an iconic moment. Like, why did you? But that was my only issue. Like, honestly, that was my only issue. And I actually wanted to watch this film in cinemas, but then I'm speaking to like friends. They were like, I'm not wasting money on that. And they like kind of spoke me out of it. And I actually wish had gone to watch this film in cinemas. Like personally, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think watching it in that like cinematic room, I think would have been really good. So I know that it also hasn't done well in terms of box office. And in this case, I actually think that people have been unfair towards this movie.
Yeah.
Because it actually is a good movie.
They should ask what the kids thought.
Yeah.
Because this is a kids' film.
Not necessarily, Ryan. Ryan just doesn't like musicals. So the shocking thing about this film, do you know what genre this film is? A fantasy musical. I was like, wow, that is such a combination. A fantasy musical. That is it. Which makes complete sense though. Yeah. And then the director of this film is a man named Rob Marshall. He has directed other films such as Mary Poppins Returns, which was a very good film. I thoroughly enjoyed Mary Poppins Returns. I thought they did a very good job. And then this makes so much sense. Do you know that he directed Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides?
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Which makes so much sense, right? Like, honestly, I think it's one of the reasons they were able to do this film.
And there were some actors in here that
are in Pirates.
Was it that one from that pirate specifically?
It wasn't from Stranger Tides. He was from
Dead Man Tell No Tales.
Yes, Dead Man Tells No Tales. He was the Spanish captain.
When I saw him, I'm like,
But then he was But the actors, Ryan, the actors were.
There was some good choice of actors here.
I actually think
definitely.
I think this was an all-round perfect cast. Like honestly, if you look at all the main characters, I honestly think that everyone just did such a good job. So I'm going to talk about the two main actors at the end. So starting, because we're already on him, I think his name's Javier Bardem. He plays Trident. He was the villain in Dead Men Tells No Tales.
Yeah.
And he did a proper job as
The Spanish what?
Yeah. Like he did a good job.
Yes.
Like I do think he did a good job. Yeah. Then we have Aquafina, who plays Scuttle.
Yeah.
And I know that there's controversy.
You know her immediately.
Yes, you do
Your
know
voice,
who it
you're
is.
like, ah.
You're like, ha.
You don't even go Google, you just know.
I must be honest though, so at first I was like, why? Because Scuttle, I don't know if you remember in the original, so he's a seagull and obviously he's a male. Whereas in this one, they actually made the character, she's not a seagull, she's a diving bird.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense because the reason they changed it was they wanted scenes with her underwater.
Yeah.
So that's why they made her a diving bird, which I thought was clever. And as the movie progressed, I actually had no issue with the fact that they changed it.
Yeah.
It was something fresh. It was something cool. And then I really enjoyed. So Jacob Tremblay played Flounder. And I enjoyed him as well. I thought he was very good. He was 13 at the time, or 12 at the time of production, and he did a good job. I know that there was so much controversy around this film. So because they made Flounder look like a fish, like an actual lifelike fish, instead of like the flounder of the cartoon. I don't know if you remember. He was like
that
very
more
chubby.
like animated.
Yeah.
Big,
So people had an issue with that, and I was like, but you're making it live action. You kind of have to make the fish look real, you know? So
like the Lion King or...
Yeah. So I didn't have an issue personally with that.
What is his name from the Jungle Book? Mowgli?
Mowgli. But he's the boy.
Remember? No, okay, no, then it's not. It's the bear. What's his name?
But
him.
Baloo, yes, Baloo.
Same thing. He was like a very strict, more...
He was a bear.
The live action part.
Yeah, makes sense.
Instead of this like more
with
animated.
eyebrows.
Yeah, and it was cool.
It was cool, yeah. And then David Diggs did such a good job at Sebastian.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the whole Jamaican vibe that he had going on. And those three together, that Kiss the Girl sequence where the three of them were singing together, I thought was so good. Like, I really, really enjoyed
good Jamaican
them.
accent. And he was in Hamilton.
Yes, he was in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What a great job.
She was
I loved her on screen.
Amazing.
She was my favorite in this whole film.
She was crazy.
She was so creepy.
I think what was so good was we're used to her being in comedies. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like if you say Melissa McCarthy, I think of her like...
I felt like she was funny, creepy.
She was completely evil. She was so good. She did such a good job with Ursula. Like, I thought she was brilliant.
Yeah.
She really, really was so good. And one thing that I must give to the film, because I don't know if you know this, originally Ursula, and you can see it, when they originally made that character, they based her off of a drag queen, which is actually a male. It's not actually a female. Like, even the deepness of her voice and just her whole look and feel, she was based off of a drag queen. And I really appreciated that they didn't make or cast a drag queen in the role, because they very easily, I mean, like all the things Disney has been doing, and they didn't actually do that. And Melissa McCarthy brought more of like a female side to her. Like, I didn't feel at any point she was trying to be a male. Like, she was just like this very creepy character but she did a brilliant job. Like, she really, really did a brilliant job. And then you had Jonah King as Prince Eric. I think he did a very good job. I don't know him well as an actor. I know that he's been in other things, but I really thought he did a good job bringing Prince Eric to life. And then this has been the greatest controversy around The Little Mermaid, was the casting of Halle Bailey, because she is not a white actress. She's a black actress, and obviously The Little Mermaid was originally a white character. So now, originally when I found that out, I was just like slightly irritated, because obviously there's a very big push nowadays for like black actors, and I was like, that's fine. I personally have no issue with a black actor. Like we need that in the industry, otherwise everything's just going to be the same. But the fact that they took a character that was from Denmark, and if you know anything about Denmark, those people are whiter than most people. So like the fact that they took that and then changed it, I was like, if we were talking about like another character, another Disney princess, and you changed her to white, I think that there would be an uproar about it. And obviously there was an uproar about the fact that they changed this character to black. But now saying that, watching the film, they didn't set it in Denmark. They set it. The feel I got was in like a Caribbean like island, like something similar to Jamaica or
I picked like somewhere like Spanish, Spain type of, because even the soldiers had those like metal plates. The whole, if you look at a Spanish army, the way that they
but wasn't it just that those islands were colonized by Spain?
Probably.
So it wasn't necessarily a Spanish country. It was more a Spanish colonized island.
Yeah.
But like, so let's take Jamaica for instance. I mean, Jamaica has black people. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like. The fact that they changed the setting, I was like, I'm okay with what they've done. I'm actually cool
like,
because like they've kept it true to this story. So they've remade it, yes, but they haven't kept it exactly the same. They've like changed a few things here and there, which I was okay with. And then also another thing that I think they did well was Trident's daughters. So I think he has 7 daughters in total,
something like that.
But there was
a mix there as well.
They all how I perceived it was they all governed different parts of the ocean, and the ocean goes all over the world, and the ocean has different temperatures and different due to the location it's in.
Seas.
So like the 7 seas, like that made sense. Like there was an Asian, there was an Indian, there was a white with like really blonde, like Scandinavian type of So I think that was clever that they did that because now it wasn't now they've made her black just because it's politically correct to make her black. Like for me, that was the issue. I think was that they bring politics into films, and I'm just like, don't do that. Films don't need politics.
You mess it up.
That's the whole point of films. Is we're trying to get away from reality type of thing. So the fact that
fantasy.
Exactly. The fact that there was more to just making her black than the reason for me wasn't political. It actually fit with the story.
Well, she had this. I mean, even if I look at like her smile and the way she looked, how she looked glamorous. If that's the word I can. She looked like Ariel, like this mermaid, this Disney character.
Yeah. So I honestly, by the end of the movie, I thoroughly, I said, I was sad I didn't go watch it in cinemas. Like that was honestly and I at one point was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna watch this movie, but I'm actually, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very, very good. Yeah. And also I love, this movie was beautiful to look at. Yeah. Like, it was art.
Well, I was going to say, they did so well with the CG.
They did.
Obviously, they did a lot of art. So, I don't think they spent any time in the water, from what I could gather. They might have.
Except for the scenes where they were floating, but they were out of the water. So, like, where the ship was, like, sinking.
Oh, yes.
Scenes like that, they filmed in, like, a water
parts
tank.
Like that. But a lot of it was sort of, they would be rigged. They would be in a wire rig, and that rig would... sort of force them to move in that same sort of like motion through
Mermaid,
water. And then, of course, like the hair was really awesome.
The hair
was so good.
The hair was insane.
Is it Tritone?
Trident.
Yeah, Trident. Thank you. Yes.
All of the hair.
Brilliant. I loved his hair. Like, it was just, it reminded me of Aquaman.
Yeah.
That same sort of technology that they used. And especially so a lot of the actors did a lot of blue, in front of the blue screen stuff in the studio, which I'm sure they were like, yes, because they don't really want to get into the water and stuff like that. Well, unless you're going to, of course, go with the whole...
James Cameron, Avatar.
Yeah, unless you work for James Cameron.
But they didn't work for James. They
had them in rigs. They had them moving exactly the same way. There was never a time where I was like, that looks kind of... And I'm sure you picked this up, but they even had like the tone of their face and the way that they themselves looked. They looked very mermaid, sort of. It's that fantasy look. Yeah. So they didn't keep them like dry, straightforward human.
Yes.
Because at the same point, because like when the movie for me started, there was logic that already left me like, wait, but how does that get, okay, but wait, is the whole, and then I thought to myself, wait, this is fantasy. Hang on. You need to like go out there now. And even the way they looked, I'm glad the way that they did it, the way they pulled it off. So even like the hair, they pulled it off well going through the water.
That was brilliant.
The wet look, the way they even interacted. There was some stuff that I saw. I was like, talk about practical green screen. Like there was the one scene where Ariel was like on the turtles at the bottom of the sea, and she's moving along. Like in the studio, they really had her sitting on guys on all 4 legs, and they were moving in that same.
And she was like bouncing.
Exactly, and that was obviously to get the motion of of her body, like doing. So they obviously did like motion capturing. Then they throw over the wet look and the hair running through the simulation, all of that.
Yeah.
They pulled it off. So, and
did.
like you said, the colors.
Oh, it
the
was beautiful.
colors. Like, did you see like some of the shots that would like have like the light and dark
Yes.
on her body?
Yes.
The way you'd have like the bright, like she'd swim through like this coral that's like glowing. Like even oh my word, like her tentacles would like glow.
That blue
so
glow.
So they pulled off a lot of like ocean atmosphere type of the casting. It was
amazing.
That part I was just like this is great.
Yeah, I
This
can
is great.
honestly say, because like I remember when Avatar 2 came out, like everyone was speaking about this underwater world and how breathtaking it is, and I can honestly say this movie, I thought there was more wow to this movie than Avatar. And I know, like I was watching a video, they were saying how with Avatar, like they created their own camera to get like the shots that they needed. So their budget was really high. Whereas this film didn't have as big of a budget. But for me, like this film, it competes with Avatar. Like I don't think it's less than Avatar.
Magical.
It was. And just to side note, all of the actors, when they're underwater, I'm talking specifically about the mermaid or mer people. Their hair is not real.
Yeah.
Their hair is completely computer generated. It's done so well.
Yeah.
Like the hair.
Yeah.
Like I would literally like watch. You know when you just like, this is incredible.
So
and
nice.
even at one point, Ariel's tail. So her tail's got like this blue-green look to it. But at one point, there was one part of her tail that had like this red hue to it. I don't know if you remember. She was sitting in her cave, and it was amazing. It really was so amazing. And then I also liked how they switched to when they were now on land. Like she looked slightly different, but it made sense because now like your body is going to react differently being exposed to water as opposed to being exposed to air and no water. And so like I thought that was really good. And I love the set, not the set, the location. Like the whole the island and just like the whole setting, it was
Prince
really
Eric
good.
running and singing with the wind in his hair.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was telling my wife, who's a vocalist, I like, as much as I hate musicals, I enjoyed the variations in the singing.
Yes.
It didn't just sound like this chorus verse type of thing.
Yeah.
He was like very, very expressive in a lot of the stuff that they sang.
You know what I like about musicals is musicals aren't, with a musical, they're not looking for the best vocal performance, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about singing.
Is it?
With musicals, it's all about the emotion that you are able to express. So that's why sometimes like they'll almost like sing badly to bring across something, or they'll stop and like breathe, or they'll sing and then end it off by saying a word instead of singing the word. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that's why I like musicals, because
so you have to express.
Yeah, it's more expressive than normal singing, because normal singing is just like you need to sound good and will pitch correct you, and like every single thing will just make you as like this is, they want like the raw. Yeah, so I think I enjoyed it. But even the songs were very good. And the original music that goes with The Little Mermaid is incredible.
Yeah.
And what they've done to it, so they had the original guy come back. And he in fact, his first film was The Little Mermaid. So he obviously came back. But then this time round, he was joined and collaborated with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
What did he do in it? Because
So he worked on lyrics and also songs. There were certain songs I could hear, this is a Lin-Manuel Miranda taste.
Yeah,
but it was very good though. It wasn't it was all very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Like it was brilliant. It honestly was so good. But now Melissa McCarthy, this is the crazy part. Do you know that she had no idea that she'd actually be singing in the film? She ended up being coached by vocal coach Eric Vetro to prepare for her role, and did all of her own singing in the film. But at first she didn't realize that she'd
have to sing.
Yeah. And do you know
and
who,
she begged for the parts.
but do you know who also auditioned for Ursula?
Who?
I don't know if you know, she's a very famous singer, Lizzo. She also auditioned, and also, Melissa McCarthy didn't know that she'd auditioned. And when she found out, she was speaking to Lizzo, and she literally was like, "Why did I get the role?"
Right.
Because Lizzo is a good singer. So like the fact that they like, we don't know Melissa McCarthy as a singer; she's an actor. Do you understand? But she really, really did a good job, and I can see why she was cast, because it was very, very good.
She was very animated.
She was very good.
It was so good.
Yeah. So now the next question is, because I don't know if you know this, Ryan, but they created the Little Mermaid 2, the animated Little Mermaid 2.
Oh, cool.
Like back in the, like way back when, right? Yeah, like not now. Yeah. So when asked about possibly starring in a continuation for this film, Halle Bailey and Jonah King actually remember the less celebrated Disney sequel, The Little Mermaid 2, which is called Return to the Sea, and it was released in the year 2000, which considers a similar plot with Ariel and Eric's daughter Melody, who longs to explore the sea and becomes a mermaid to do so. So she basically, Ariel's daughter, does what Ariel did in reverse. Yeah. But Bailey was apparently born 6 months before Disney released Return to the Sea. And in the same interview, she added that she loves the sequel, while King joked that Eric could become a merman in a future installment.
Yeah.
I honestly completely support that idea of the Little Mermaid 2. I really would watch it, and I'd be excited for it. So,
besides all the backlashes.
Yeah, let's talk about this, right? So with the whole color of an actor determining a role, I feel like you either have to, I suppose the film industry is an artistic industry, which means it's open to expression.
Yeah.
So I suppose you have to take it from both sides. So I hear the part of, a character, this is the character's description. This is where they're from. This is, their heritage. And therefore, we need to make sure that the actor resembles that heritage. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for example, I remember Anna de Armas acted in the Marilyn Monroe movie Blonde. I do not recommend you go and watch that movie. It was messed up and it had a lot of nudity in it. But I remember she acted as Marilyn Monroe, right? Who was American. Marilyn was American.
Yeah.
But Anna de Armas is Spanish.
She's Spanish.
She kept her Spanish accent. So she didn't use an American accent. She was Spanish. It was a Spanish Marilyn Monroe, which was just weird. Like, it was like, wasn't she able to do the accent? Like, why did you? So, like, in that case,
hasn't she pulled off an American accent before? I'm sure she's
not
pulled
that
off an
I
American
can honestly
accent.
remember. Let's think about this, Anna de Armas. Like, we only know her as a Spaniard, right? Okay, so like there's the case of like Hamilton, the musical, where Lin-Manuel Miranda actually cast, it didn't matter what color skin they were, they didn't match the profile of the person they were playing.
I enjoyed Hamilton.
Yeah, so they kind of just went for like the best talent. They didn't look at appearance as part of the determining like attribute for the role. It was more talent. So I get both parts, but like I feel like, yeah, we just need to like.
But let's look at Hamilton, because Hamilton is American history, right? And it was the whole thing of the British and them, like, sort of, right?
Yeah.
The British and all
but
of
like,
that.
I don't know if you remember the guy that played George Washington.
Yes.
He was black. He wasn't white. And then also, there was that other guy. I can't remember his
There were
name.
a few.
He was the guy that shot.
Even some of the females
And then
were the
David
same.
Diggs, yes. David Diggs also. So like, I think in actual fact.
Are you saying like historical characters?
The actual historical characters,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure were all Caucasian, like white,
Yes.
because, yeah.
But the feeling that we got from Hamilton was this more like sort of modern, sort of
Yes.
mixed, sort of mishmash, kind of more modern youth, like rap and, blues and that type of feel.
Yeah. So it made sense.
So even though it was history, but it like I enjoyed the film because and a lot of rap artists and a lot of blues people that love listening to rhythm and blues and stuff like that enjoyed it as well. So it's the feel that it also brought across.
I think this is the determining factor. Don't make it political.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem.
Unless you want the movie to be accurate. But in this case...
No, as in like whatever. If you want it accurate or if you just want to go for the best talent, for what I'm saying is don't make someone black, or don't make someone white, or don't make someone Indian, or don't make someone Chinese because politically speaking it's correct.
Yeah.
Do you understand? That's what I have an issue with. So I feel like in the film industry, if you want to go ahead and change the ethnicity of a character, that's fine, but don't make it a political thing.
Yeah, don't make.
Don't because in
Not for
actual
that
fact,
reason.
what you're doing is you're pulling
Yeah.
down other races. That's actually what you're doing. Do you understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So don't do that. Either the point is, at the end of the day, every single race is talented. Every single race has the ability to do whatever they need to do. We're talking specifically in the film industry. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Bollywood, for example. Bollywood has made it so big. Do you understand what I'm saying? India created their own film industry.
Their action movies.
Do you understand what I'm
Literally
saying?
out of this world.
And even I know some of their stuff is really far-fetched or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Some of the time, but still, there's still
That's
very
Bollywood
talented.
for you.
Yeah, exactly. They've created something.
That's
so
Bollywood for you.
Don't determine something because of the color of someone's skin. So I honestly, from listening to interviews, what happened was the director Rob, he happened to watch Hailey Bailey. She was performing. I don't know if it was at the Oscars or the Golden Globes. I can't remember what. She was performing somewhere, and they happened to watch the performance, and he was so impacted by her voice that he thought, I think we just found Ariel. It had nothing to do with the color of her skin. There was nothing political.
She has a sweetness in her singing. Yeah.
And honestly, she played the role perfectly. She really, really did a brilliant job. I had no issue with her as Ariel. And I think people just went political, and that's where the problem. And then some people were for it, other people were against it. In the film industry, some people were for it, other people were like, no, you're not sticking historically accurate to the and I feel like it just got there was a whole big mess. And meantime, it was just about making a good film. That was it.
And that's how you don't make it political, because
Yeah.
it messes things up.
So, but Disney's also to blame for that, though. I really believe
'Cause they
that
have
Disney
done
is
that.
to blame
They have
because
done that on
they've
other
gone
films.
political. So I don't know if you know this, on Disney Plus. There's, you know how you get different playlists. So they'll put Marvel. You'll have all the Marvel films together, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll put Star Wars.
Yeah.
All of that.
Star
They
Wars.
literally have a section where it's literally, they call it Black Celebrated Films.
Oh.
But now, so I'm okay, cool, whatever. But I know a black person, right? A black person has said to me, they have an issue with that. And the reason they have an issue with that is because they're like, why do we have to have our own category? Are our films not good enough to compete with the other films? Why do we? So now it's okay, yeah, here you go, guys. Let's put you in your own category. You can
Put you aside.
That's what they actually feels being done to them.
Mix, yeah.
Which I
Totally.
I hear that. Are those films not good enough to stand against all the other films with all the other different colors and compete? Because I think if you look at Black Panther's there. Black Panther was a good film. The second one was not a good film, but that had nothing to do with color. That was just Disney ruined that
Even
movie.
some of the CG
that was and the underwater scenes. They needed to watch The Little Mermaid and see how the underwater scenes should have been done.
Just get those guys
Just
in there.
saying. But anyway,
Yeah.
but that had nothing to do with color. And there's other films in there that are good films. They don't need to be in a black celebrated category. Do you understand what I'm
they've
saying?
done
So
it.
yeah. So I just feel guys, let's not politicize the film industry. Let's just make films because it's an art and that's it, full stop. Done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I really believe that The Little Mermaid was harmed because it was a good film.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
I mean, what if now they don't make the second one?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh no, we got lashback.
Yeah,
we don't know
and
if
also
it's
we
because
didn't
it's a
make as
risk.
much money.
Making a movie is a risk.
Because apparently they because of the bad box office numbers, they were supposed to, I don't know where they were gonna release it, but they ended up not, and they ended up just taking it straight to the streaming sites, which means it hasn't done well. And I mean, I can say I didn't go and watch it in cinemas because of all of the things that people said about it. So I can see why it didn't do well, which is unfair on the filmmakers, on the actors, on everyone that was involved in the project. Now, because of politics, people's jobs and like livelihoods and incomes were affected.
And all that is he said, she said. So now
I really hope they make the second one.
I think they
Fingers
should.
crossed. Disney actually did something good, yeah. Can you believe it? We are shocked.
I felt like it was a good Disney film.
It was a good Disney film.
One that we haven't had in a long
In fact,
time.
I would honestly say this was one of the best live action remakes that they've made.
And there weren't any weird stuff in it.
No, there wasn't. There really wasn't anything weird.
Nothing strange.
Like even the fact, like they really could have pulled the drag queen card
They
with
could have done a
Ursula.
lot.
They really could have.
They could have done a
They
lot.
could have done and they didn't. They really didn't. I know at one point someone said, for me, this one, I honestly, like, this one doesn't bother me. They say that, you know, when her and Prince Eric are going on the horse with the horse carriage, apparently in the animated film, the horse was white. And in the live action remake, the horse was black. And people were like, that honestly, for me, I'm like, guys, the horse could have been pink. Okay, no, it couldn't have been pink because that would have been unrealistic.
Purple.
It could have been, that also would have been unrealistic. It could have looked like a cow. Because there are horses that look like cows, right?
And that's black and white. So
yes, I don't care. Like
everybody
really,
wins.
like that. Honestly, that was like whatever. But yeah, that's just one of the things that. Yeah, shame. It was a good film. It was a good film.
So that's what happens.
Yeah. So go watch The Little Mermaid if you haven't watched it.
With your kids.
Yeah, it was good. Now we just have to get Ryan to watch Barbie.
Nope.
Ryan, what if we change the name of... Okay, let me ask you a question. If the film's name, right, was Barbie Sucks, would you have watched it, like, in the beginning?
I will not be watching Barbie.
No, if... I'm asking a question. If the title was Barbie Sucks or Ken, would you have watched it?
Nah,
You're lying.
I promise you. I don't know. There's just something
This is
inside
like,
of me.
next week on the movie show, Sash and a guest who has watched Barbie. We'll be
There
like,
you go.
we'll kick Ryan off. Or we'll just get Ryan to sit and listen to us just for the fun of it.
I'll commentate. If you just switch your audio track, I'm commentating. Nah.
I feel like we need to cut a compilation of just Ryan Gosling in Barbie.
Maybe I
and
should
show
watch it
to
in
Ryan.
black and white.
Do it, Ryan.
Maybe I
Is pink the problem?
I don't know. There's just...
You know that
Can I tell you something? Even it's just a personal taste.
I feel like you don't like pink. I think I just found the problem with Barbie.
Even in Toy Story,
There's the Barbie.
Was it 4?
Yeah, there's Barbie and Ken.
When there was Barbie, I was just like, no.
Nah.
I was just like, nah.
Okay, I'm gonna find Barbie. I'm gonna make it black and white, and I'm gonna show it to Ryan. Make it look like Citizen Kane. Then we'll see what Ryan thinks of it. No?
There's a potential with the black and white.
I actually think we found the problem. It's the pink.
No, I can't. I can't.
Can I tell you something funny though, right?
Like the sports car.
Me and my mom
then
went to watch it, right? And I don't know if you know at the cinemas, like everyone that's gone to watch
sure they
Barbie,
went big.
They were wearing pink.
No.
Do you know what? Without even realizing it, do you know what color me and my mom went to watch Barbie in?
Purple.
No.
Pink.
We were full black.
Yeah.
And we walked out of the cinema and I was like, trust you and me to be the only two people to go and watch Barbie wearing complete... Like, I was literally... I didn't even mean it, but I just happened to be wearing, like, black from, like, top to bottom. I was wearing black. So...
I don't know. It's just like everything about Barbie. Just, I don't know.
I feel like, Ryan, you just need to watch it and then you can slate it as much as you want.
I'll watch it in the holidays.
Yeah.
It's just right now time. Yeah, no. I'll go watch The Matrix rather or something, you know.
The bad one that came out.
Even the bad one that came
Wow.
out. Watch them walk through mirrors.
Would you watch Fast 10?
That sort of stuff. I would watch Fast 10.
I will not watch Fast 10.
watch
That
Fast
one
10.
I've stuck to. That one I will not do. But anyway, we have now moved on to other topics. This has been the movie show.
On your favorite ORSPS.
Until next week.
Cheers.
Peace.